Welcome. I'm going to do a brief overview of different types of organizational structures. Keep in mind as we're going through this, picture a company that you know about in your head, and I'm going to use Starbucks and other examples throughout. But picture a company that you know well. Most structures fall under what's called a matrix organizational structure, which is a hybrid of different features from more basic organizational structures. And as you can see from this chart here, the columns are what's called functional areas. So the marketing function, the research and development function, the engineering function, etc. And then the rows are different projects. They could be projects, they could be client-oriented or just any kind of a project focus. So if you're a member sitting on any team within an organization that has a matrix structure, you basically are answering to at least two streams, your functional stream and your project or client stream. So, for example, on this staff, if you were on project team 1 and you came out of the R&D department, so you'd be a sitting member on project 1. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. So functional hierarchies, which Starbucks does have, these organizational structures refer to groupings based on specific functions. For example, the HR department, the finance department, the marketing department. These departments at Starbucks, and really most organizations, are most pronounced at the top of the corporate structure, such as the corporate headquarters. This is characteristically a hierarchical structure. For example, the corporate HR department would implement policies that are applicable across the entirety of Starbucks, its cafes, etc. And the functional hierarchy of the corporate structure facilitates in a top-down way that monitors and controls with the CEO at the very top. Functional groups are responsible for the organization-wide development and implementation of the Starbucks Corporation's competitive strategy and growth strategies. Another part, again, most companies operate this way, just using Starbucks as an example, has a geographic component to it. So you could actually be on a project, you can actually be in a function, and you can actually be part of a region or a country. Starbucks happens to have 3 regional divisions. It has the Americas, it has China and Asia Pacific, it's got Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Within the U.S., which is a very large market, and this is very common, they'll also have the U.S. broken into smaller geographic divisions, such as North and West and Central and South or Northwest or Southeast, and there's different ways that they break it out based on how their business spreads across the country. Each of these geographic divisions has a senior executive. In this way, the local manager reports to at least 2 superiors. It has that person will have a geographic head and a functional head that they'll have to answer to. And this feature at Starbucks and many other companies allows for more local managerial support for geographic needs. Clients act differently in different countries across the world, so that need for that sensitivity, at the management level, at the direct service level, is critical. And each division head is given the flexibility to adjust strategies and policies to suit a specific market. Then there are product-based divisions. You could think of any product company that comes to your mind, that they're managed, they have a product head. Starbucks has divisions such as this within its organizational structure, which address different product lines. For example, they have the coffee and coffee-related products division. They have a division for baked goods. They have a division for merchandise, like the mugs that you'll get in the stores. And this feature of the corporate structure enables Starbucks to focus on product development. And in this way, the company develops and innovates its products with the support, through the organizational structure. And it also helps develop competitiveness that the business needs as they continue to innovate the different types of products and services that they offer. Especially when you're considering potential threats from competition or whatever, which we'll get into things like SWOT analysis in one of our future lectures. There's also a strong team component, and teams are used in different parts of the Starbucks organizational structure. However, teams are most visible at the lowest organizational level, particularly at the coffee houses. For example, in each cafe, the company has teams organized to deliver goods and services. So they get exposed to all of the products, and they're the ones that are responsible for directly servicing clients for anything that the corporation at large offers. This feature of Starbucks corporation structure enables the business to provide efficient and effective service to its consumers. And team effectiveness is a major determinant of the financial performance of the franchise locations and the company-owned coffee houses. And Starbucks does a great deal of training around teaming, for that very reason. Its corporate culture influences how such team effectiveness is achieved. The company's development depends on team-based factors associated with its human resource management strategies. I'm going to leave Starbucks for a second and go to another example of a where it's a service to which that has large customers. So, for example, WPP is one of the world's largest advertising firms. It has many different divisions, and it took a step of merging personnel from many of its agencies and divisions to create a single entity around its largest client. In this case, it was the Ford Motor Companies. Many companies do that. I mean, Walmart's a perfect example as well, where if you were ever to be visiting the Walmart headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas, you'd see many of its vendors and suppliers have one point of contact locations that are directly there only to serve the Walmart business. WPP housed personnel from the agencies working on the Ford business in a single building right across the street from Ford headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan. Each of the agencies had their own practices and cultures and identity, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because what's Ford looking for? They're looking for consistency. That would manage the Ford way of doing things. So this integration that WPP did required a great deal of time and effort, as the separate entities had to learn how to work together and also be able to kind of focus on a one Ford strategy. They called it Team Detroit, and it initially handled only the Ford North America business, but it was so successful that Ford asked them to do this to coordinate all of their marketing globally, which is a great example. So this is another component of structure. That's all I want to say about it right now. Hopefully this was a good starting point for you in terms of corporate structure, and I thank you for your time and attention.